Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady. And our first story is direct proof that nothing can stop Karen from bothering somebody. There was a fire. I'm a fire investigator for insurance companies. I was working a fire in an auto body shop in the middle of nowhere. I spend most of my days working alone, and this one was no different. I'd been there for 4 or 5 hours at this point and was digging through some debris looking for an alligator clamp to a battery charger under what was left of this car they'd left to charge overnight. The fire happened in the middle of the night, so the fire department had cut through the overhead doors in order to get inside, and since it was much easier just to take off the plywood they used to cover the hole in the door and climb through, that's what I did. The inside was coated with smoke, and 3 cars had essentially completely burned. So I'm kneeling on the ground with a shovel in my hand covered in ash when I hear a voice say, "Hello, is there anyone around here?" Which scared the ever-loving crap out of me. Being alone for hours in a dark, burnt building can leave you a little on edge. I get up from what I was doing and there's a lady standing about 4 feet away from me. She looks me up and down and says, "What happened here?" I kinda glanced around and said, there was a fire." She said, "Oh, that sucks." Then she tossed me her keys and said, "I need an oil change and a tire rotation." I told her that I don't work here, that I was a fire investigator, and that the place wouldn't be open for a while since, there'd been a massive effing fire she had to climb through a cut-open overhead door to get into. She then asked me, "Well, when will you guys be open? You can just do it then." I again told her I didn't work there. I was the fire investigator. She'd have to come back later when the actual owners of the place were there, and I wasn't just by myself. Mind you, I'm wearing a fire helmet, fire boots, and latex gloves. It wasn't like this was a small fire. This place was cooked. I handed her back her keys, and she just kind of gave me a weird look and said, "Oh, okay," then climbed back through the cut-open overhead door. It was one of the weirdest moments I've ever had on a scene. Several cop friends have told me that their go-to line when asked what happened is always, "Shark attack." And our second story. Guy follows us around. My friend and co-worker and I had an overlapping day off. It didn't happen often since she tended to work the mid-shifts or closing while I worked openings or closings. So we were happy to take full advantage of it. We planned a few days prior since the manager was bad to shift days around or suddenly decide she was sick and call one or both of us in. I was the assistant, so I tended to be called first, so any plans we made before the actual day were tentative at best. We settled on going to McDonald's in fancy clothes because nothing seemed more fun than getting all dolled up to eat McNuggets. Around 1, she stopped by my house and the two of us looked like we were going out to some high-class steakhouse. She was wearing faux pearls and a black ruffle skirt with a cute top, and I wore one of those shawl-type dresses in lilac. It was a fun lunch and a nice break from retail hell. After we finished off our fries, she asked if there was anywhere else we could go. I said, "Why not the craft store?" She said, "Oh yeah, I have a coupon for some canvases and I really want to get started painting again." She has such a cute little girl voice. We head out to the shop that's right across from where we work. Now, we're still dressed nice, and the store's uniforms are a shade of green with black or khaki pants. They also wear aprons or vests with the store's name somewhere on them, plus name badges. So we walk in and see they still have some of their spring merchandise, which included bubble wands. The two of us may have been 20-somethings, but you can't tell me you wouldn't jump at the chance to get 20 bubble wands for $5. And I'm talking the big ones. So we start grabbing them and looking for a basket. The clerk near us was grinning and shaking her head. We cleared them out with plans to hit up the park down the street after this. So once we left the display empty, we headed towards the back where they keep the canvases. There was a sign on the door saying something about spring sale, so we figured we'd find her stuff, then work our way around the store. This was when I noticed a man a few aisles over looking at some glass jars. He looked at me, kind of half waved. I smiled and looked away as we kept walking. Now, the whole time, the two of us are talking about everything, from her obsession with Pokemon, going to my cats, doing something stupid, to a discussion about us heading into the slow season at our store. The conversation is peppered with wildly inappropriate words we'd never use in our own store. I think we actually made a couple of genital jokes about the fake flowers in an aisle past the glass jars. So we find the canvases at the main back of the store, and I don't know anything about them. I draw either in sketchbooks or digitally. I don't paint, too messy, but my friend is scoping them up while I hold the bubble wands. I notice the guy around the corner and look around. When he sees us, he puffs up his chest and makes a rush towards us. I don't like people. I've learned how to handle them as the AM manager in my job because I'm paid to. Outside of work, I'm happy just floating through existence with minimal interaction, which isn't to say I'm outright rude. I respond to greetings by other clerks, or if someone asks me if I could reach something off a shelf or an opinion on an item, but I don't linger. I respond, tell them to have a good day, and walk off. This guy had that intense look in his eye, and he stopped right in front of us. Guy: "Hey, there you went." Me: Hi. I'm wondering at this moment if I know the guy. We see all sorts in our store, so it's possible he recognizes me, but I don't him. Guy: "It was rude of you to just run off when I waved at you." Me: "Oh, well, we needed to find the canvases." I gestured to my friend, who turned around. She was wearing a lanyard for her keys because she's that kind of person who'll leave them in the ignition or on her seat when the car locks. Me: "And we did, so." Guy: "Well, I need your help picking out a vase for my wife. I figure a girl is better at it than I am." We both look at him. He's an older guy, so we assume he's an older generation sexist, but being as semi-nice as she is, my friend opts to help him. So we go back to the glassware where she picks out a very nice one for him, and we start to head off. Guy: "Oh, one more thing, girls. Can you tell me where the watercolor paints are?" Friend: "No, sorry, but there's the service desk right there. You can ask someone else." Guy's face shifts into something irritated. He huffs: "Why do I have to ask them when the two of you are standing right here? Why can't you just show me?" Me: "Because we don't know where they are." Guy: "Well, it's good you're honest about not paying attention to your store, but that's a poor excuse for an employee." My friend and I both look at each other, then back at him. We don't work here, sir." "Then why are you wearing one of those badgy things, huh?" And he turned to me. "And where's yours?" "You mean my key lanyard? This has my keys." The guy rolled his eyes. "Yeah, right. I'm going to ask for the manager and report you." "Okay, but they'll tell you we don't work here." And we walked away. So we wandered towards the other half of the store, and while we headed for the desk, we figured it'd be solved until about 5 minutes later, the guy came around the corner and stopped to smile at us with smug satisfaction. "I talked to your manager, and he wants you to come to the front right now." It reminded me of a kid telling on someone else, then bragging how the teacher was going to punish them. We don't have to go anywhere. We don't work here. "Not for long, you won't." I was trying to figure out why this guy was not understanding that we were shoppers. We looked nothing like the workers in the store, and even if we did, clearly our dress at the time would have said we were off the clock. Not many people I've met work the floor in retail wearing their good dress clothing. Certainly not open-toed shoes. Drop a KitchenAid on your foot once, guarantee you'll never do that again. Me: "Listen, dude, we don't work here. We're trying to shop, so leave us alone." And I took my friend by the arm and we headed down towards another aisle. We need to leave. Guy: "Employees shouldn't be allowed to shop during store hours. It doesn't make it fair for the customers since you all get huge discounts." We do not get huge discounts at our store. We get 20%, which is just 10 cents over what a customer gets. We ignore him and start looking for an open register. The guy's following us the whole time, going on and on about how all young people working retail were rude and lazy and that was why the economy was so bad. When we found an open register, I slung the basket of wands onto the counter and made eye contact with the clerk. It was the one we saw earlier. Clerk: "Did you ladies find everything else all right?" Me: "Oh, yes, we did. Too much." And I hooked my thumb behind me as the guy followed us into the line. Guy: "You need to call the manager right now. Your coworkers are the most disrespectful girls I've ever been serviced by." Yes, he actually used those terms. The clerk looked confused and shook her head and told him we didn't work there. He threw his hands in the air and yelled, "What did I expect, coming to a store only women work at? Call your manager now." So the clerk picked up the wall phone and dialed a number. A minute or two passed before a young man came over. He introduced himself as the manager, and both my friend and I recognized him as one of our regulars across the street. He smiled at us and asked what was wrong. "You have 2 very rude employees. They refuse to help me, refuse to wear name badges, and why are they out of uniform?" Manager: "Sir, neither of them work here. They work at the kitchen store across the way." The guy glared at the manager and took the glass vase we'd helped him find and slammed it onto the counter. It broke. He didn't even seem to notice, though. So props to his commitment to being a jerk. "I have never had a worse customer service experience, and I went to China once. How dare you let these little girls run Rub Shack over you?" "No one's running anything. I was just going to ask you to leave. But since you broke the merchandise, you're going to have to pay for that." "As if. This place is a joke." "That may be, sir, but you're going to have to pay for that." And he waved over a security guard. The guy was quickly ushered out of the line down towards the office. The manager turned around with a sigh. "Hey, is that all you guys are getting?" And we nodded. "Here, give him my discount. You guys always have that hot sauce I like." So we thank him and the clerk and head out to the car to decompress before going to find that park. We went through 3 wands that afternoon, and I kept a whole box of the hot sauce under the register for the craft store manager. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching the video all the way to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.